let's go to work. And you might recognize this. It's all just an illusion. Oh, let's see. Okay, so it's been close to 18 hours. Let's do this thing. Let's break the fast. So here we go. Oh. Bye. I'm gonna order a green tea ahead of time so that by the time I get it, it's nice and cool. I get one of these teas, the Rev Up. It's like a mix of green tea. So usually I'll have green tea at the house, but in this case, I'm gonna get one on the way just because this one amps me up a little bit more. So I had my little apple cider vinegar drink already, which I'll talk about when we're in the car when I don't have to talk so quiet. Order one of these guys ahead of time because it's usually piping hot. That way it's a little bit cooler. Go get that along the way. Be ready to work out.
Look, and the monster truck.
Cool, man.
Monster truck.
Hey Thomas, Daddy has to go to the gym.
No.
Yeah, Daddy has to go to the gym. I'll be right back.
Hey.
Bye.
Love you. I don't know what. Okay. Alright.
Daddy has to go work out.
Alright, me. Thanks for putting that out. Come here.
Yeah, I can do it.
It's like right there.
See my yellow monster. Come on.
That's just like
Come on.
Yeah. Maybe hiccuping? She had the hiccups all night.
I love you.
I will.
So the reason I'm having tea and not coffee right before my workout on a fasting day is because shortly after I get out of bed, I want to have tea, simply because if you have coffee right after you wake up, your cortisol levels are already elevated, and what that means is that it's going to throw off your tolerance with caffeine. I find that I can get by with less caffeine if I have coffee later on. So I'll usually have coffee after my workout, and I'm not opposed to having coffee or caffeine pre-workout by any means, but personally, having the green tea or powerful tea of some kind gives me like 50 milligrams of caffeine, but it gets me the EGCG, it gets me the other catechins that are in the green tea that are going to give me more of a benefit during my workout. And then I'll capitalize on the caffeine and the polyphenols from the coffee after the workout, even if I even feel like having it. A lot of times I'm so energized I don't feel like I need it. So that's why we're gonna head to Starbucks and have a green tea. I usually pre-order it because they make it so piping hot, and then that way I can just swing by, grab it, and it's cool by the time I get it, and get a nice little caffeine fix. I used to always make fun of people that would mobile order because I liked the experience of standing in line in a coffee shop. But then you have a kid and time shrinks on you, and all of a sudden 5 minutes that you would normally spend in a line at a coffee shop just seems like one of the last things I'd like to do. Which kind of makes me sad because I actually kind of miss that sometimes. Now I know this is a tad wasteful, but I want to be able to consume this, so I'm gonna still piping hot. And I've got like 15 minutes before I need to be in the gym. So I'm gonna dump a little bit out, water the bush there for a second, and then just add some cool water. That way I can pound this. Because even in this whole venti size green tea, I'm probably only looking at like 75 to 100 milligrams of caffeine tops. So we're still looking in this whole thing less than like a smaller cup of coffee. So I want to be able to really get that caffeine in. The nice thing is green tea has all kinds of different things that are called catechins, right? We have epigallocatechin 3-galate, the main EGCG, but then there's dozens of different catechins, and they do different things. They have cross reactions within your body. One of the reactions of green tea is a vasodilation effect, which means I get more blood flow during my workout. I notice a significant difference in the muscle pump and just overall blood flow I get in mobility with green tea versus coffee. Again, nothing wrong with coffee. I love my coffee, but just something to consider when you're crafting your own pre-workout. Yeah, I usually go in about 20 minutes early, get a little warm up in. So 2020 is like my year of recovery, right? Like I've beat my body up for way too long being overweight and everything like that. So this year is all about, okay, yes, I might lose some muscle mass. Yes, I might change my physique a little bit, but the fact is like I need to get healthy. I need to do a lot of tissue work. I need to do mobility work. So I'm gonna go into proactive here in a minute, and I'm gonna work with my trainer, Ryan, and my PT. And everything that we're focusing on is mobility, just getting myself moving again and getting myself feeling good, and helping out with stress and everything like that. So he'll probably put me through a good grinder workout, but the first half of it's just gonna be mobility. This place is cool because they work with like all the NFL guys and just Clay Matthews and some of these just really cool big names. It's really awesome. A couple of names I'm not going to mention are actually people that follow this channel, which is cool. Like we have people in the NFL that practice intermittent fasting, and it is so inspiring and so cool to see that they do that, right? And in fact, I was even talking to my trainer Ryan. He was mentioning that sometimes some of his clients that are athletes will come in at the end of like a 22-hour fast, and they'll be a little bit weaker, and it can frustrate them because it's like, oh, okay, they're training in this fasted state and they're not performing at 100%. And I'm explaining to them, it doesn't really matter, because think about it like this. If you go into the gym at the end of a fast and you are 10% weaker because you're at the end of a fast, it's all relative. You need to be comparing apples to apples. So if your relative strength gains are improving, if your relative strength is improving each time you go into the gym at the end of a 22-hour fast, then you're all good. But then when you do come into the gym and you're not in a fasted state, you're going to be insanely strong. It's all a hormetic response. So I was trying to explain to Ryan, and I think it resonated, that when you go into the gym, it should always be as difficult as possible. Like you're trying to overcome, you're trying to adapt. So go to the gym and train in a fasted state, whether it's at the end of a 10-hour fast, 16-hour fast, or 22-hour fast. It's just going to make you a better athlete, but it's also going to help you develop that element of mastery mentally that makes you a better athlete, makes you a better person in general. All right, let's go in.
Hey, how's it going?
So if this was like an ordinary workout and I wasn't working on mobility or anything like that, I wouldn't be doing such an extensive warm-up. So I talk about in a lot of my videos that you usually see a decline in overall strength, in contractile strength, if you warm up too much or do cardio before a workout. If you're training for sub-maximal lifts or even maximal lifts, definitely not the way to go, but it's definitely not my goal here today. My goal, activate muscles that I haven't been activating, get more range of motion, get my mobility back, so that my actual workouts when I'm not here training with my trainer are a whole different ballgame. And you watch my videos and you might think, oh, this guy knows it all. You never know it all. Never, ever. Always have a coach, always have a trainer, because it keeps you accountable, but also keeps you fresh. My focus is learning nutrition content. I don't always have the time to be on the up and cutting edge stuff when it comes down to training and performance, but I'm passionate about it and I like it. So that's exactly why I come here. Closest that you'll be to NFL players in a while. Blood flow restriction training. I was never a big believer in it. I didn't really understand. I thought it was actually kind of a bad thing because I thought you'd be trapping lymphatic fluid. I didn't think it was really good. But then come to find out that it's not about trapping lymphatic fluid. It's about strategic blood flow restriction, so you get more mobility. But more importantly, if you're a science nerd like me, it's all about creating more lactate. And lactate is the byproduct of exercise to an extent, right? So that byproduct is metabolized within the body. So when you exercise, you produce lactate, and that lactate gets metabolized through what's called the Cori cycle and actually creates energy. Well, when you trap blood flow to a certain degree with a certain percentage of occlusion like we were doing, it creates a massive amount of lactate. Well, that forces the hormetic response for your body to adapt to that lactate. Basically, it's so difficult, your body has to adapt and get stronger to it. So not only do the muscles get stronger with working with less weight, what's even cooler is that it creates a massive surge of lactate, which creates energy in the brain via something called BDNF. So it works out really well. So if I'm working with Ryan on Thursdays when we're normally going to be filming my standard content for the channel, I find I get a huge mental boost if I do a training session like that with the occlusion training and then stay fasted and go into my filming. Like with the exception of last week when I was very sleep deprived, the last month or so, I felt so fluent on camera, and I largely attribute it to the style of training that I'm doing in a fasted state. So I don't feel that you should train at a ridiculously high intensity in a fasted state. I feel like you should be training at a consistent tempo. If you notice the kind of training that I was doing with Ryan, it was like about 80% max or 80% intensity throughout the entirety of the actual workout, with the exception of the mobility and warm-up, which is exactly what I feel like I needed to wake me up, because I'm running on, unfortunately, about 3 hours of sleep. I thought it would be a good idea to go stay at a hotel in Hollywood, like before the shoot, and then it was right on Highland Boulevard, and there were sirens all night, and and it was like, you know, Amber's 9 months pregnant, and Tommy's not sleeping really good for whatever reason right now, so I was kind of like, you know what? I'm gonna get a hotel. It's gonna be a nice excuse for me to be able to get a good night's sleep without a squirmy pregnant wife and a crying toddler, and I need to get some sleep. I should have just stayed home.
Yeah, dude.
Sleeping in your own bed. I will take sleeping in my own bed with an uncomfortable pregnant wife and a crying toddler 10 times over sleeping in a foreign bed with sirens and AC that dries your lungs out. Let's talk eating post-workout for a second, because clearly this is a fasting day. I just had a pretty good workout. Shouldn't I be eating post-workout? Well, that's kind of a myth, to be completely honest. So we have to look at protein synthesis. Protein synthesis is where your body takes amino acids from the labral pool, just the pool of amino acids that you have in your body, and synthesizes protein, creates muscles, right? So in theory, right after a workout, you should take in protein so that you can rebuild muscle. And there's nothing wrong with that theory. It does work. But it doesn't mean that if you do not have protein, you're going to lose the results of your workout. You see, there's studies that show that protein synthesis, muscle protein synthesis after a workout, actually is higher 4 hours after a workout than it is 30 minutes. But additionally, it continues to climb for about 24 hours and then starts to drop. And after 48 hours, it's gone completely. So the point is you actually can get a good amount of protein synthesis hours after your workout. So I don't need to eat right after this workout. In fact, I can leverage what I call riding the wave. Right now, my body is in post-exercise oxygen debt. So after exercise, my body's in oxygen debt. It's trying to catch up. The metabolism is trying to catch up. That means I'm continually burning fat right now. If I eat something right now, I stop that window. I stop that from happening. I don't want to do that. So I want to go ahead and I want to ride the wave, and I want to go through the rest of my fasting day with my epinephrine and my adrenaline kind of amped from the workout. And then, you know, when it comes time to break my fast, maybe around 2 or 3 o'clock, then I get a good amount of protein in and we'll be off to the races. Is he clear?
Oh, yeah, he's over there. Nice. Bye. What's up, Red Soldier?
Hey, Thomas, does my leg have a story?
No.
Normally, if I wasn't fasting before filming, I would load up on a bunch of DHA. I'd load up on a bunch of different like fish oils, usually DHA, right? So if I was eating, I might have some sardines, I might have some oysters, something like that, along with a copious amount of fish oil. Reason is it gives me a big mental boost, but also post-workout, fish oil, the omega-3s, actually increase protein synthesis via what's called the P70S6K pathway. So it's a really cool little hack. So post-workout, take a few fish oil pills along with your protein, and it's gonna work out really well. It just helps you synthesize a little bit more protein. Oh, did you find your maracas?
Shake it. Shake it.
I'm still a big fan of megadosing vitamin C. Yeah? Do you megadose vitamin C? Does Daddy mega dose vitamin C?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I cycle through different brands, and the reason I do that is just different varieties of vitamin C. But the reason I mention this is I will usually take vitamin C before I shoot if I'm not fasting, because vitamin C does crush your cortisol levels, which means I'm a little bit more fluent, just a little calmer on camera. But I'll usually take between 6,000 to 10,000 milligrams if I'm feeling fatigued. So right now, super run down because I haven't been sleeping well. And this would be a great time to do it. However, when I'm fasting, I don't take vitamin C. Very important, you do not take antioxidants during a fast because they are sort of, for lack of a better term, a crutch. They make it so that your body doesn't have to overcome oxidative stress itself. You're giving it a crutch, right? You want your body to adapt during a fasted state. So I don't recommend taking a whole lot in the way of supplements. My wife's in the shower right now, but when we go back in the bedroom, I'll kind of show you what my supplement ritual is pre-fast, or excuse me, what my supplement ritual is pre-filming. And then I'm gonna grab a shower and then we'll head to the studio because today is a filming day. You get to see a little bit of behind the scenes action and my boring old life on a fasting day. Okay, can you make me a smoothie?
Yeah. There. Make me silly.
Thank you.
He's delegating already. I asked him to make a smoothie and he asked JR to make it. Great.
Make it.
Okay, fine then.
But,
Timmy?
Does that look like Daddy's Nova?
yeah. Look, Joe.
Yeah, I know.
So right now my Nova's getting some transmission work done, but there was a really cool video I did on how to shop the meat department. It tells a little bit of the story behind my 72 Nova, which looks pretty much just like this. So he loves this toy because it looks just like Daddy's Nova. But the reason that I got that 72 Nova was because I had built a 71 Nova with my dad before he passed away. And then when he passed away of cancer, literally when he was on his deathbed, he and I talked about muscle cars, and he told me, Thomas, you need to get a muscle car again. It's in your blood, you have to do it. My dad was a race car driver, SCCA, CSRG, used to race, Laguna Seca, Riverside, all those tracks growing up and throughout his life. So it is, in essence, in my blood. So anyhow, he calls it the Weeba, which is Nova. Got a 502 big block, it's a blast. And can't wait to get it back from the shop so that we can cruise again. Huh, buddy? You like
the motor.
Oh, the motor's yeah, that's the motor. What does the motor do?
Yeah.
Does the motor make it go fast?
No.
Holy crap, nice rainfall shower.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
What's up? Very cool.
And then I'll usually use magnesium on a filming day. So magnesium's not gonna break it fast. Here's what's kind of interesting with magnesium is that although it does have a relaxing effect, a calming effect, one would think that that would negatively affect a fast, right? And so I talked about vitamin C and how the antioxidant... You don't get one of these. How vitamin C would affect a fast negatively because it's an antioxidant. Well, magnesium relaxes you, but what's interesting is there's some studies that have shown that magnesium only relaxes you at the musculoskeletal level. It doesn't relax or stop what's called the cardiotonic effects of adrenaline. So what that means is you can quite literally relax your muscles and relax your brain with magnesium during a fast without it negatively affecting all the fat burning that's occurring. Normally, relaxation does not tie in with fat burning. You're usually stimulated and amped up and burning fat, or you're relaxed and recovering. Magnesium kind of allows you to do both. So I take between 400 and 600 milligrams in the morning. And then I'll mess around with taking a 3-in-8 version, which is also magnesium that can cross through the blood-brain barrier. So I don't take much of that. I'll probably just take 1 tab of that. So that's dimagnesium malate, which is a slower acting, sustained release magnesium. And then I take a faster acting 3-in-8 that can cross through the blood-brain barrier. Again, all just kind of my filming strategy. Now, I'm gonna go take a shower and I'll see you guys at the studio where we will be filming some content.
These are my horses.
Yeah, that's a great
He
shot.
was my horse, but
That's a great shot.
those are my ponies.
Damn, when'd you take that picture? That's really nice.
Thank you.
Super nice.
I took that earlier this year, I guess. So, yeah.
Where though?
At the barn, I just edited it.
That's insane.
So that's gonna go
What's gonna be her name again? I keep on forgetting.
Emma.
Emma. What's her middle name?
We haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
We were thinking like Emma June,
Yes.
maybe like Emma Ray. We haven't told anybody yet though.
I like Emma June. It's so country.
That's what I want.
Daddy
Yeah.
Sunny.
Where's Sunny? Show her where Sunny is.
Here.
And where's Junior?
Right there.
Yeah. Are those your horses?
Yeah.
Aren't they so cute? Little bows on them.
They look like space boots with bows.
Of course, it has to have bows. And then Tommy, did you help me do this? Did you help Mommy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He helps me put all of the bows up there.
Jeez, nice.
So many bows.
Ready? And let's go to work. Bye, guys.
2.
Bye.
Bye.
Ready? Go, 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 go. Yeah, go. This is the humble abode where the magic happens. Here. Give you a quick tour so you can see. This is where I normally torture myself. This is Cam, the editors.
What's up, guys?
And we've got, of course, JR. That guy. And then this is Matt Neeson.
What's up, dudes?
Neeson is a little bit of everything. Matt is a more seasoned, a little bit of everything. I'm just kidding. more, how do I say that? I'm more seasoned, but been here long. More tenured?
More of a veteran. More of a veteran.
No, but in reality, Matt is like the ultimate compiler of research. You know, so my goal is being able to translate information. He is like the ultimate introvert that just likes to dive into research, probably even more so than I do. And the nerdy conversations that we have are even more nerdy than the conversations that I have to the camera. So appreciate this man, right? Appreciate everybody, but appreciate the research side. Sorry, Nathan.
No,
don't appreciate him.
I appreciate that too, so it's great.
Alright.
Nice.
The wall of different sponsors on the channel, things like that. You know, it's a little bit chaotic, but okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn my little red light therapy on. I'm gonna spend just about 5 minutes doing a little bit of meditation, which is just a common practice for me before I film, just to get my head in the right place. So I'll show you a little bit of what I do. I've done plenty of videos on red light therapy, so I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail here, but it's a combination of red light, which is photobiomodulation, and this is going to be near infrared. So essentially, I just go into meditation for a few minutes, and yeah, then we just get to work and start filming. All it takes is 5 minutes, so I'll see you in a few. Aw. Oh, I'm here. Hey, look!
Whoa!
Hey, look who came to visit today. Thomas!
And this have that orange ball.
Please have the orange ball. You can have the orange ball.
Go get it.
Yeah.
I do it at Remy.
Careful.
He's a good little actor. So today we're filming some cool stuff. We're filming how to break through love handle and belly fat plateaus, which is going to be a really interesting video talking about some of the myths surrounding weight loss and why people kind of reach these plateaus at the end. Then we just filmed a really interesting one on low carb and the thyroid and how carbohydrates actually could be impeding thyroid production. And then we have a couple other really cool ones. Got a cooking segment or two. But then I also want to do a video talking about the top supplements that people over 40 should avoid. So by the time you watch this video, these videos are going to be closer to release. But just so that you have an idea, kind of a sneak peek behind what's going on, when we produce a video, it's usually 2 to 4 months out. So a video that we're filming today, and it's March, might not go live until, shoot, even June, sometimes even July. The reason that we do that is so that we have a protective layer, right? So we can still be providing you guys with the content that you need to stay motivated. You are talkative today. So that just gives you an idea, a little sneak peek behind what we're doing. And you might recognize this. all just an illusion. Okay. There you go. Good job. And then we can put it a little bit tougher. Now it's a little harder to walk, huh? Yeah.
There you go. Just crawl. There you go.
So we have that.
I have breath. So during a fast, your kidneys expel extra water because your insulin levels are lower. So one of the things that I do, you may have noticed earlier this morning, I put a little bit of salt in my morning cocktail with my apple cider vinegar. That's a normal practice for me. But then also throughout the course of the day when I'm fasting, I'll have just some salt. I'll either put it in water or I'll literally just eat a little bit of it. For some reason, just kind of a crunch of some salt helps satiate you. But you also have these things called NST receptors within your gut. And these NST receptors, what happens is kind of complicated, but basically our nerves can essentially get crossed in a way they communicate with our brain. So a lot of times when we're craving something sweet, we could very well be craving something salty. So when I start getting a little bit hungry, which tends to happen right around now, around 11 o'clock during a fast, that's usually the tough part for me, and then I break through. Well then, have a little bit of salt, it helps curb that craving. What do you need help with? I gotta go. Ready? And do more. Ready, go.
There you
One,
go.
attaboy. Two, good job, buddy. Three. Oh my gosh, let's do 5, okay? 4, one more. Can you do one more? One more, you got it. There you go. Oh, good job, buddy. Look, one. Yeah.
A big one.
You want
Big one?
Okay.
Wow.
I get them.
1, 2.
Oh, sheesh.
Yeah, careful, kid. Just let go of that. Okay, let's go find Mama. Come on.
Oh,
Rocket
well,
ship.
first of all,
Ready?
Nice one. That's great.
Oh, you lost your hat, buddy.
so funny.
You want to? Oh,
This
you want it
morning.
yourself? Okay.
He was playing with his little like horsey
Get my stuff.
with his cowboy hat on. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so funny. But yeah, yesterday, oh, this one.
That's you?
It makes me think of a trip to Utah, and he just kept in the background going, wee, wee.
He doesn't do that as much anymore.
That whole trip, just sitting in
You
the back.
called them.
What?
It's just not school anymore, huh?
Mwah.
See you today. You got him okay? Yeah. Okay. Back to the grind. And I want to show you something. So, yes, sometimes I will use a whiteboard as like a little bit of a prompter, but it's just points, right? So like right now I'm filming a video that is called the 15 foods that you didn't know were even keto. Basically saying like, these are delicious foods, you didn't even know they're keto. Well, there's 15 items, so I might not remember those 15 off the top of my head. So yeah, I'll put a bullet point right there just so I know, okay, yeah, I'm talking about buffalo wings, talking about heavy cream cheese, but there's no science under there. So then all that is a point for me to remember which piece I'm talking about, and then I'll just go into the science of that particular food because that's all in the repository there. That's all the stuff that I know. Like, for example, I'll go and I'll talk about, let's just say heavy cream for a minute. I'll talk about A2 beta casein, and I'll talk about how heavy cream is going to be a lower carbohydrate content than half and half, and how heavy cream might be the option you want to go for versus half and half. And then I'll talk about, let's talk about cheese crisps for a second. And most of the cheese crisps that you're going to find on the market are going to be Parmesan based, or they're going to be some form of aged. Okay, sometimes you see like the cheddar puffs, which is all good, but the longer that a cheese has been aged, the lower the lactose content and the lower the beta caseinate and the BCM7, which is the bioactive opioid. Point is that the knowledge is there. But yes, I am human, and I can't remember 15 things right off the top of my head. There's a good chance that I might remember 10 of them, but I'm trying to make the video flow. So anyhow, I just wanted to show you a little bit behind the scenes that yes, sometimes there is a whiteboard, but it's not a prompter. I'm not reading from a prompter or anything like that. The stuff is here, I've been through it. So anyhow, now we're gonna go to filming it. Hey, Thomas DeLauer here, and let's get you through this little plateau, okay? Because I know that belly fat and love handles can be very, very annoying. For me, it was my love handles. I never stored a lot of fat in the front, but I always stored fat in the love handles. Anyway, I consider belly fat and love handles one and the same. Cool. All right, so back home now. It's about 3 o'clock. Did some filming, came home. Amber had to run some errands, so put Tommy down for a nap, got a little bit of work done here at the house. Tommy just woke up for his nap, and I'm just about to break my fast. So I'm just gonna get Tommy a little bit of juice. And other things, rather than give him actual sugar juice, we give him just a little squeeze of just some stevia sweetened juice. That way he's not having to have a bunch of sugar. Oop. And that. He's always about doing it himself right now. So just put this in a place where he can just get it himself. So some of the things that you have to remember before you break a fast is that you want to get your cortisol levels down a little bit low. Okay, now what I mean by that is cortisol is the stress response, right? So during a fast, your cortisol levels are elevated. And what that means is you have all kinds of fight or flight hormones going, specifically cortisol. And when you combine cortisol with food, with insulin, that's when cortisol becomes a problem. During your fast, when your cortisol levels are elevated, it's really not that big of a deal. The reason that I say that is because there's nothing for the cortisol to store. All the cortisol is doing at that point is liberating fats into the bloodstream. You see, cortisol is very volatile. Cortisol will be either very, very good in the absence of food and help you out, or cortisol can be really bad when it's, again, in conjunction with food. So what that would look like is you're chronically stressed out, your cortisol levels are chronically high, you're sitting at a desk job and you're eating all day. Well, that's a recipe for storing fat, specifically around the midsection where cortisol would normally cause that attribution there. So what I like to do is exercise whatever efforts I can to reduce my cortisol levels before breaking a fast. So the half an hour down to like 10 minutes before breaking a fast, I just do whatever I can to de-stress. Maybe I meditate, maybe I sit down. Definitely don't take any stressful phone call or deal with anything stressful. It's just really important. This is something that you absolutely can control. You can bring your cortisol levels down within minutes simply by just, well, relaxing. And remember earlier in the day, I talked about vitamin C. I talked about how vitamin C can crush cortisol levels. So normally you don't want to take it during your fast, right? I talked about that. Well, now would be an okay time for me to take some vitamin C because I can lower cortisol levels. So again, no specific brands being mentioned here, but it's just, load up, maybe take a couple thousand milligrams. Oops. Just be in good shape that way. Then another thing that I might do is check this out. Let's get some cinnamon here. There it is. We just moved back into this house, so I'm still trying to figure out where things are. So before I break my fast, I'll actually have a little bit of cinnamon. Okay, I don't consider this technically breaking my fast. Just maybe have a teaspoon, a little less than that. Mix it up. Here's the cool reason behind this. Cinnamon mimics insulin within the body. So while I'm simultaneously trying to reduce my cortisol levels, I'm also mimicking insulin. So that way, when I do have food, when I break my fast, my insulin levels aren't going to spike as high. So therefore, I don't have the potential risk of mixing cortisol and insulin. So I drink a little cinnamon water, probably just cinnamon floats. It never tastes that great. And I hope to God that he isn't in a bad mood. He's okay.
Yeah. Let's maybe go right there.
Where? You want to go get it?
Yeah.
You want to get down?
No.
You don't want me to carry you? Where is it?
Way up there.
Where? Oh, it's way over there. You gonna go get it?
I went outside.
It is raining outside.
Yeah.
Did you just toot at me? Did you just toot on me?
Yeah.
You're funny boy. What's that? Toss that.
Was it stinky?
No scooting. What? You're gonna fall off the island, man.
Let him do it.
You want to eat some lime?
You want to try it? It would be sour.
Another thing that you can do prior to breaking a fast too, actually, is just like I did first thing in the morning, is have a little swig of apple cider vinegar. Again, it's going to help the digestive system, but more so than that, the big piece with acetic acid, which is the primary acid that's in vinegar, is that it's going to drop your blood sugar. But okay, I don't have a whole lot of blood sugar right now to begin with, so how is it really working? Well, it usually does work on the digestive piece. So again, right before you break a fast, might not be a bad idea to have a little apple cider vinegar, because what it's going to do is it's going to slow the absorption of the carbohydrates or the protein potentially, and make it so your blood sugar doesn't spike quite as high. Why do we want to avoid a super high blood sugar spike? We want to avoid that super high blood sugar spike because once again, cortisol levels are high. We don't want that insulin spiking high. However, which we'll talk about when it's time to break the fast exactly, you do want somewhat of a controlled insulin spike. But you're gonna have to wait and see exactly how I break the fast in order to really understand that piece. So I will go ahead and have a little swig of this. Awesome.
Do you want some?
No.
Well, let's see. Okay, so it's been close to 18 hours. Let's do this thing. Let's break the fast. So here we go.